Hey guys, thanks for tuning into this episode of the Gymnastics podcast. This week I'll be basically explaining where I've been, the concussion, and what my plans are for the podcast in the future. I hope you enjoy. Hey guys, thanks for tuning into this episode of the Gymnastics podcast. This week is going to be a bit different. Not much preparation, not much idea of where this is actually going to go, but I figured I should give an update on where I've actually been for the last 2 months. So officially, the reason I had this little break was because of the concussion. I sustained a concussion on the 1st of September. I actually have a video of the exact go I did it on, except you can't actually tell anything happened. I look up a bit and I'm like a bit like, oh my God, what happened? But you can't actually tell anything actually went wrong. But I did it on a casino. Put one hand on a bit too late, sort of hung off both hands and sort of went into the pit sort of sideways, and my head just went over my shoulder, just too forcefully essentially. You can't see it in the video because the pit's sort of in the way. On the day, it felt all right. Like, I didn't notice anything wrong really. I did the rest of my high bar session. It was fine. Like, I managed to keep going for as long as I needed to. It was like an hour left of the session at that point, so it was probably like 7:30 at that point. So I just sort of kept going. Thought I was all good. It is also important to note that I also had an ankle issue at this point as well. I was in a boot at this time, sort of in the ankle brace when I was training, but I was in a boot the entire rest of the time. It's probably 7-8 weeks post ankle injury at that point. So I was coming out of the back of it. 2 weeks post concussion was when I got the boot off. So it would have been 7 weeks post ankle injury that I actually got the concussion. Great timing. I'm great at that. I did the injury, had about an hour left of the session, just sort of kept going. It was fine. Didn't notice anything weird other than like just a really bad headache. But I was like, I just hit my head quite hard. So it's probably just a headache. It's going to go away tomorrow or like in the night. It'll be fine. Didn't notice anything strange for pretty much the rest of the day. For the rest of training, I should say, other than the headache. I then went to get fuel before I went home. So got fuel and then went to the shops as well. Something that did happen, though, is the journey I had from the petrol station / shops to home after like that initial one. So I went there and that was fine. But then coming back home from the shops, don't remember a thing. I was on the phone to my girlfriend at the time. She remembered the conversation, 100%. I didn't whatsoever, just completely blanked on it. And it was really weird because I'm not one to forget conversations. I'm not one to forget journeys, like especially when it's just happened. Like sometimes you're driving, you're absent-minded, you don't remember like bits and pieces. That's fine. But I don't remember a thing about it. Normally at least remember like getting into the car. Don't remember that. That was one thing that was just a bit like, okay, I don't know what's going on there. Didn't think much of it realistically, but that was on the Monday. On the Tuesday, felt awful. Waking up, I felt like really bad. Went into the gym. I was like, I'll just work through the headache. It's fine. I then went upside down. Felt like I was going to fall over and just sort of stopped because I just couldn't. I was like, there's no way I can train if I can't go upside down. And even like any sort of activity just sort of felt off to me. So took the day off on Tuesday. Didn't feel any better on Wednesday, so I took that day off too. I went to the physio on Thursday, the TAS physio that I go to in Walsall, and he said that it was most likely, if not definitely, a concussion. I was like, sick, awesome. How long is that going to take? He said, until you're better. Sick. He was like, you can't go in until you're completely asymptomatic. For 2 days. Never done that before. Never just not gone in the gym, even when I'm in pain. Like, sometimes you're not feeling well, you don't go in for a day, that's fine. I wasn't in the gym for 2.5 weeks because of the pain. Like, I went to Lillishall to mostly just to catch up with the physios and doctor there. I went into the gym, but like genuinely the lights were hurting my head. So I went home. I wasn't driving at this point either. I had to get my sister to give me lifts everywhere. So it took me a full 2.5 weeks. It was on the Thursday, 2 weeks after I did it, that I went back in the gym. And For 15 minutes, I trained. It's like nothing. It felt so weird not doing anything. I did nothing. Like, you're not allowed to look at screens. I wasn't allowed to walk because I was in a boot. I was going insane. I really did not know what to do with myself. I was just like, okay, well, because what do? You've had a dislocated ankle from, like 8 weeks ago that you're still in a boot for. You're not allowed to put weight through. And you've got a concussion. You're not allowed to do like cognitive tasks. Like, you're not allowed to use your brain essentially. And you're not allowed to walk anywhere. I couldn't even go for a walk to clear my head. It was not very fun. I didn't know what to do with myself. This is part of the reason why I had to stop the podcast. I did record an episode while I was concussed, and I was in pain the entire time. And I was like, I just can't do this. Let alone like looking at the videos, editing, all that sort of stuff. Like, not happening whatsoever.
Hey guys, Winston here. I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. If you are, please do leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you can. Also, if you want more gymnastic content from me, you can check out my Instagram at wpowell05 or my TikTok at winstonpowell5. Thank you, and let's get back to the episode.
I decided to have a little break, and I was just like, okay, well, this is also quite good because it will give me a chance to look at what I'm actually doing, look at what I want to be doing with the podcast, and go from there. Like actually figure out what I want to do with it, because I've just sort of been going through the motions. So I wanted to actually look at what I was actually doing. And it took longer than I thought to get back to it. It's now been, 7 weeks now, I think, as of recording. So it'll be another week and a bit. But yeah, like, it was really tough not going into gym. We as gymnasts talk about a lot how difficult it is going into gym. Like, how difficult it is staying positive and working hard when things are tough. But something we don't often talk about is how hard it is not going into the gym, or going into the gym and when you're not doing everything. Because it is really tough. Like, I know I'm going back in. I know I am. Like, it's not a question of like, oh, will I train again? Oh, will I compete again? I know I will. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So having to sit by and just wait while you know every one of your teammates, every one of your rivals, if you want to call them that, is working in the gym. They're working hard. They're getting better while you're sat at home in bed doing nothing because you're not allowed to do anything. It's really tough. It really is. And you just sort of have to deal with it. There's a few exercises I could do, but beyond that, there wasn't a lot. There wasn't even ankle exercises I could do because I wasn't out of the boot. I wasn't allowed to do exercise. As a gymnast, not being able to do exercise, going from doing it 4 to 6 hours a day to doing 0, it's quite the shock. But eventually we got back in the gym. It was a very, very slow process as well, might I add. 2.5 weeks was when I got back in the gym. I only got back to a full 4-hour training at week 5. So it took another 2.5 weeks just to get back to full training, because I was really struggling to go upside down and do swings and all that sort of stuff. High bar was really tough to get back to. And for a while, that was all I could focus on, because that was what I wanted to do more than anything. Just get back in the gym. Just get back to full training. Everything else kind of fell by the wayside, if I'm honest. But it did give me some breathing space and a bit of time to focus on what I actually wanted to do with this. It may have already come out. Again, I'm not sure what order I'm doing this in, but I want to spread the word of gymnastics. I want people who don't know what gymnastics is, or only see it once every 4 years, or are somewhat acquainted with the sport but don't really know it very well, to know what it's about. At least the basics. There are a lot of basics, I will say. But my goal is to get people to know what it is. And if people know what it is, then they'll start to enjoy it. It's only natural. Like, it's a very interesting sport. People are doing superhuman things every day. And people just don't give it the time of day because they don't know about it. It's not like they do it maliciously. It's not like people aren't paying attention because they don't want to pay attention. It's just that they don't know. It's just that it's not advertised. It's not like, I suppose, marketed. It's not like in the public eye. Like, for instance, a sport like football is. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, that football is so popular. It's so popular because it started really early. It's gained popularity because of, a lot of things. I won't go into exactly what they are. The accessibility has always been there for it. So it's just grown and grown and grown and grown. And people are die-hard fans of football because it can also go all year round. There are football seasons, but there's multiple. So you can always be watching a football game, like at any point in the year, or most points in the year. Gymnastics is not like that, but it could be somewhere near it. It could start to grow. It could start to become a sport that's more in the public eye. And I think that would be amazing for it because gymnasts work so hard. I'm not just saying that to big myself up. I'm saying that to big up every gymnast because we do. Train ridiculous hours. Our bodies are always in bits, but we go in anyway. And we work our butts off for something we're not even guaranteed. Many of us aren't even paid to be in the gym, even if we are Great Britain gymnasts. Like, if you can imagine a football player who's on the GB team, obviously there's many more footballers, and therefore the amount of people that will become England footballers are a lot fewer in proportion. If you imagine one of them not being paid to train, to compete, that would be unheard of. We train just as hard. Maybe we're not doing enough. Maybe more people just need to know about the sport. And that's what I want to do. I want to educate. Because I know the sport very well. Even though I'm not like a qualified, as of right now, a qualified coach or a qualified judge, I've looked at the code a lot. And I've looked at other documents and things like that. I've been a part of the sport for 19 years. Obviously, many of those years probably won't count because I was like preschool and then rec and then I went on to elite. And I only really remember anything from Birmingham, which is 8, 9 plus. So call it 10 years. That's still a long time. And I've grown up with it. So I'd like to think I know it quite well. I'd like to think I know the training and the preparation goes into everything. And I want to share that because I think that it needs recognition. I think the people within the sport need recognition, as well as the sport itself. If we had more competitions, yes, it would be easier. But the British Championships shouldn't be like half filling an arena. It should be selling out arenas. It should be the same with the English. More people should be interested in this because more people would be if they knew about it. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I just want to educate, essentially. I just want people to know about what goes into the sport. That's why I do the interviews. That's why I do the interviews with the sport staff, because so much goes on behind the scenes. That's why I do the interviews with the gymnasts themselves. That's why I do the interviews with the coaches. If you do want another point of view, if you do want to hear from a different sort of guest, like another sport or something like that, then do let me know. I'm always open to it. I'm always open to hearing different points of view and talking to people from other sports, because I think they're getting the other perspectives and hearing how hard they train or what specific things they do to help them or their recovery methods, stuff like that. If you're like me, you struggle with rips on your hands, seemingly at the worst possible times, like in a competition prep, for example. I'm proud to partner with Wad and Dunn, who have a solution for us gymnasts to help us train and protect our hands in the process. I especially recommend their rip guards for apparatus using grips or guards, whatever you want to call them, high bar, rings or A-bars, and their 3-step hand care kit to make sure your halluces are strong and rip resistant without making them soft. Use my code PAL at checkout or my link in the description for 10% off at checkout. Now, back to the episode. So a few of these first episodes will be episodes almost directly from the book that I've written about gymnastics, talking about the scoring, competitions, apparatus, stuff like that. But then the rest of them, I'll try and keep it alternating between like content heavy stuff and then like interviews and more lighthearted things. So it will still have a balance of everything, hopefully. Fingers crossed. I'm always open to hearing what you think about the show and what sort of things you think could improve it, what you want to hear about it, all that sort of stuff. So if you do have any comments or anything, leave them in the comments below, or in the reviews, things like that. Let me know what you want to see. Let me know what you want to hear. If you enjoy the show and today's episode, leave a like. By the time this comes out, the book should be open and published. If you want to know more about the sport and you want to read ahead, I suppose, then why not? Why not get it? Because it's a really useful tool, I think, because everything's just sort of there and it's not like really dense and heavy with information. Like there's a lot there. There's a lot to know, but it's all separated into chapters and paragraphs and things like that. So if you want to find something there, it's quick and easy to. I'm not saying that the Code of Points isn't, but the Code of Points is 137 pages long and it's dense with information. And also you've got all the skills there and stuff. This just keeps it all separate. And also like personal insights into things within the apparatus too. If you are interested in that sort of thing, check out and then give it a review. Why not? A lot of time and effort went into making it. So it would mean a lot if you could give it a look-see. It's good to be back. It's good to be back training. It's good to be back recording. I've missed it. I hope all of you are doing well. I know this has been a bit of a laid back, a bit chilled, a bit quiet episode. I thought I'd explain where I've been, what I've been doing in the last 2 months. Also working on other parts of my life. So working part-time at accountants and working on like school visits, things like that. And then corporate speaking things as well. While gymnastics has taught me a lot, in terms of the part-time job. I've never worked in a proper job before, like a office sort of environment. So I think gaining that experience will be quite beneficial. And then in terms of the school/corporate speaking visits, getting more kids into sport is very important to me. And then into gymnastics is also huge because if you build up the bottom layer of the pyramid in terms of the participation, the rest of it will grow. Obviously, you need the steps in place to do that, but that's more up to the clubs and associations than it is for myself. Like national governing bodies, British Gymnastics, I should say, putting those things in place. And then in terms of corporate, gymnastics taught me a lot. And I think that there's a lot that can be shared when it comes to it in terms of discipline, in terms of motivation, in terms of finding what you enjoy in the graft, even when it's not pleasant, because conditioning isn't pleasant, especially. And some apparatus sometimes aren't pleasant. Working through pain isn't pleasant, but you got to do it sometimes. Push through even when things are tough, I think is very useful, not just in a gymnastic sense. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Game Gymnastics podcast. Leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment about what you want to see or hear from next. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.